It's a business to build Paddy and make him easy fights. But I hope Justin gonna kick his, and we're gonna forget about Paddy all our life. Justin, if you need the help, let me know. I'll fly to you and help you.
His words cut through the room like a blade. Elbow him all day, all night. All night. All night. Arman Tsarukyan just declared war, promising a brutal, bloody spectacle for Paddy Pimblett. No quick finish, no choke, just a relentless barrage of elbows aimed at leaving permanent marks. This wasn't a threat, it was a chilling promise to make Paddy's face bleed, to tattoo his legacy onto Pimblett's skin forever. The lightweight division just got personal, with a vengeful contender ready to intervene.
You just saw Gaethje versus Paddy Pimblett for the interim title. Earlier, Topuria posted, I'm dealing with some personal problems, so I'm not gonna fight the first quarter. So the winner of Gaethje versus Paddy will be the interim title, and then they will face Topuria.
Arman's fury didn't stop there. He openly backed Justin Gaethje, sending a direct warning. Paddy is food. Tsarukyan, disgusted by what he sees as the UFC building Pimblett with easy fights, desperately wants Gaethje to deliver a definitive knockout. He even pledged his allegiance, offering to fly out and help Gaethje train if needed, a stark display of animosity towards Pimblett. This isn't just about a win, it's about erasing Paddy from memory, forgetting him all our life. The stakes are higher than ever, fueled by genuine disdain.
Paddy and Justin?
No way. Unless if they pay good money, I'm not gonna be backup. But I'm gonna train just in case if something happen before 2-3 weeks, so I can jump in. I gotta take the risk.
The catalyst for this chaos? Dana White's bombshell announcement confirming Justin Gaethje versus Paddy Pimblett for the interim lightweight title. This wasn't the matchup anyone expected, but with champion Ilia Topuria stepping aside, the division landscape instantly fractured. The winner of this sudden showdown won't just get an interim belt, they'll secure the next coveted shot at Topuria himself, throwing the entire lightweight hierarchy into disarray. A belt on the line, an unexpected clash. The UFC knew exactly how to ignite the buzz. Paddy.
Same like I would just maul his face on the ground just with my elbows. Even when I fought with Hooker, I was thinking, what should I do when I was on the top? Should I choke him or I just should like elbow him? And I just pick, okay, no problem. Let's finish this fight. But with Paddy, I'm not gonna for the choke. I'm gonna just elbow him all day, all night. Just make his face like bleeding. I gotta leave a lot of marks on his face. That's my goal.
But why the interim title at all? Champion Ilia Topuria had dropped a cryptic tweet stating he's dealing with some personal problems and wouldn't fight in the first quarter. This sudden withdrawal, while brief on details, immediately opened the door for the unexpected Gaethje-Pimblett interim clash. Fans were left wondering about the true nature of these personal problems that sidelined the champion, inadvertently setting the stage for one of the most polarizing title fights in recent memory. His absence axed the controversy, but his next move would only fan the flames.
Not gonna drink, party, gonna train, dedicate himself, be focused. It's his last chance in this life. He was fighting for the title maybe 5 times. So this is his chance and the end of his career. Win the interim title, fight for the real title, and then retire. That's the best for him. And I'm gonna, Justin, if you need the help, let me know. I'll fly to you and help you.
Topuria, however, couldn't resist a calculated jab from the sidelines. He tweeted directly at Paddy, urging him to win your next fight, hands up, chin down. But the real sting came next. A dancing clip aimed squarely at Arman, proclaiming this dance is for you. It was a clear public taunt igniting mixed reactions from fans. Some loved the mind games, seeing it as essential fight promotion, while others condemned it as unnecessary drama. Topuria's message was clear. He's watching, he's involved, and he's not afraid to stir the pot.
We saw last time against Michael Chandler, he is the real deal. He absolutely smoked him. He's undefeated in the UFC. He put a beating on Michael Chandler. And let's remember, Chandler went toe-to-toe with Gaethje, gave Dustin Poirier a good run, knocked out Dan Hooker. So it's not like he's a bum. Yes, he hasn't been winning fights. We all know that. But Paddy made it look different. He beat the living hell out of him. Simple as that. And I knew he had something coming up because last week when I saw him in Qatar, the man was playing paddle, right? Like a paddler, bro. He had his shirt off in the sun. He was glistening. He had the six-pack. He looked great. We all call him Paddy the Fatty, right? Well, he isn't fat right now. The man looked to be in the
Amidst the drama, Arman Tsarukyan was asked if he'd back up the interim title fight. His response was immediate and firm. No way. Unless they pay good money, I'm not going to be a backup. He drew a line in the sand, refusing to be a mere standby without significant financial incentive. Yet, ever the professional, he admitted he'd train behind the scenes, staying ready in case an opportunity arose a couple of weeks out. Arman is willing to take risks, but only on his own terms, demanding respect for his value. His conditions reveal a fighter acutely aware of his worth.
We saw last time against Michael Chandler, he is the real deal. He absolutely smoked him. He's undefeated in the UFC. He put a beating on Michael Chandler. And let's remember, Chandler went toe-to-toe with Gaethje, gave Dustin Poirier a good run, knocked out Dan Hooker. So it's not like he's a bum. Yes, he hasn't been winning fights. We all know that. But Paddy made it look different. He beat the living hell out of him. Simple as that. And I knew he had something coming up because last week when I saw him in Qatar, the man was playing paddle, right? Like a paddler, bro. He had his shirt off in the sun. He was glistening. He had the six-pack. He looked great. We all call him Paddy the Fatty, right? Well, he isn't fat right now. The man looked to be in the best shape.
Arman then turned his attention to Justin Gaethje, offering stark, critical advice for his upcoming clash with Pimblett. He implored Gaethje to remain disciplined, urging no partying, no distractions, just full focus. Tsarukyan views this as Gaethje's last chance in this life, a final opportunity to win an interim title, fight for the undisputed belt, and then retire on top. For Arman, Gaethje's entire career hinges on this one fight, demanding absolute dedication from the highlight reel. The pressure on Gaethje just amplified, with another contender watching his every move.
Champion basically means the #1 contender. But if Paddy can pull it off, unbelievable. That'll be 4 champs, 2 interims and 2 legit, well 3 legit now with Tom being promoted from the UK that have become champions. And for Justin Gaethje, this is the final go. This is the final crack of the whip. The man's had 2 title fights in the past, Charles Oliveira to Khabib Nurmagomedov, and now he gets to go up against Paddy.
You wait in as a backup fighter, which sucks. Yeah, they pay you, but it sucks. You have to cut weight, not even knowing if you're going to actually fight. So he did that. Backup fighter. Doesn't get the call, but may wait. Show the UFC that he's a company guy. He's going to do what he can to make things right. Then he goes on and he fights again. Defends his #1 spot. Beats Dan Hooker and gets a finish. Then, I want to say, yeah, a week later. Almost a week later. I'm sure if he had the opportunity to fight for the interim title between Paddy Pimblett or Justin Gaethje, he would have done it. Unless we're all completely mistaken and he said, no, I only want to fight for the title or that's it. And that's against Ilya.
Michael Bisping weighed in, acknowledging that while Ilya vs. Paddy offered a great built-in storyline, the Gaethje vs. Paddy matchup is still brutal. He reminded fans that despite a recent setback against Holloway, Gaethje remains a human highlight reel with insane power, kicks, and pressure. Bisping's analysis cuts through the noise, highlighting the undeniable danger Gaethje poses. Regardless of the unexpected nature of the fight, Paddy faces a legitimate threat, one that could dismantle his momentum. The stakes for Pimblett have just been brutally clarified.
I think Arman would have taken the fight. That's just what I would think. It's not too bad of a turnaround. And on top of that, he just won, got a finish, didn't take a lot of damage. Don't know how hard the training camp was, but didn't take a lot of damage. It sucks to see that.
Moving over, Bisping surprisingly gave Paddy Pimblett significant credit for his last performance, noting how he absolutely smogged Michael Chandler. He emphasized that Chandler, a formidable opponent who went to war with Gaethje and Poirier, was utterly dominated by Paddy. Bisping highlighted Pimblett's undefeated UFC record, questioning how he made a fighter of Chandler's caliber look so vulnerable. This praise from a respected veteran served as a stark reminder that while controversial, Paddy has proven he can deliver devastating performances against elite competition. His critics were forced to acknowledge a shocking reality.
I think that this is a very valid reason not to fight. We have seen people fight with things on their mind. There's too much at stake. There's too much at stake right now in his career. He is too big of a star to go in there compromised, not 100%. His heart elsewhere, his mind elsewhere. And so I think that what he is doing is the mature, it is the professional thing to do, and it's the smart thing to do for his career, for his brand, for himself, for his family.
Adding to Paddy's unexpected resurgence, Bisping revealed a stunning physical transformation. He reported seeing Pimblett recently, looking sharper than ever, lean, shredded, and in the best shape of his life. The playful moniker Paddy the Fatty no longer applies, as Pimblett has clearly dedicated himself to a new level of conditioning. This dramatic change in physique challenges preconceptions, suggesting a more serious and disciplined fighter is emerging. His physical readiness is a critical yet often overlooked factor in this upcoming war. The old criticisms might no longer hold true.
I said I wanted to see Paddy fight for the belt. God bless. I said, Justin, I think you need to win a couple more. He said he was going to retire. Unless he got a title fight, I guess he's not retiring. He's fighting for an interim title. But this is a bogus fight. And it's insane to me that it is headlining over Kayla Harrison versus Amanda Nunes. On paper, Paddy versus Justin, if Paddy wasn't fighting Ilya and Ilya's supposed to fight Arman, on paper, Paddy versus Justin is a fine fight to determine the #1 contender to fight Ilya and or Arman. Ilya won that belt back in June. I don't even think you need an interim title fight. Honestly, it should have been the co-main event, 5-round, #1 contender fight, Ilya versus Arman, second half of the year.
Bisping then broke down the monumental implications for Paddy Pimblett if he were to win the interim belt. Such a victory wouldn't just mean a shiny new accessory, it would catapult Paddy into #1 contender status. More profoundly, it would add another UK champion to the growing list, elevating his national hero status. For Pimblett, this fight is a chance to validate his hype, prove his elite status, and join the ranks of British UFC legend. The interim title isn't just a stepping stone, it's a potential legacy-defining moment.
What does Arman Tsarukyan have to do to get a shot at the belt now? I know he had the fight back in January. He got hurt. Sue the guy. He sat patiently. He went out there. He steamrolled right through Dan Hooker. He did exactly what he had to do. He did what Khamzat and Islam did not do. He finished his opponent on the ground in dominant, impressive fashion. And now what is he? Now he's just floating in the wind. And he's not even next, apparently. Now, of course, everything can change. Nothing really means anything. They make up the rules as they go along. But to put Justin and Paddy in the interim title slot and then have the winner of that fight Ilya is insane to me. And worse than that, because we have seen interim title fights that have felt a little fugazi. I cannot believe that they are headlining this card with that fight.
Moving for Justin Gaethje, Bisping declared this fight the final run, a desperate last shot at UFC gold. After failed title attempts against the likes of Khabib and Oliveira, this interim bout represents his ultimate opportunity for redemption. Bisping underscored the high stakes, calling it absolutely do or die for the highlight. His career hangs in the balance, a chance to finally capture UFC glory or face the harsh reality of falling short one last time. Gaethje carries the weight of past defeats, making this encounter his most critical yet.
I reckon Pimblett's beating him. Mixing up the grappling and the striking, staying at range, not being in the pocket with him like a Chandler would be, like a Fiziev would be. I reckon Pimblett's going to beat him. Gaethje coming towards the tail end of his career. I just want to mention now.
Aljamain Sterling passionately argued that Arman Tsarukyan had earned his #1 spot the hard way. He meticulously detailed Arman's grueling path, taking the Islam Makhachev fight, getting injured, then still stepping in as a backup, making weight just to stay in the UFC's good books. Sterling highlighted his subsequent defense of his rank, finishing Dan Hooker in dominant fashion. Arman's commitment to the process and his willingness to fight anyone, anywhere, should have in Sterling's eyes secured his rightful shot, yet the system seems to be failing him.
Arman Tsarukyan is... This is tough for Arman. Okay, he's probably going to have to fight someone else. He said he would be on this card. I don't know if they then called him and he said, no, I can't be on that card, and that's why they've done this. If that's what comes out from this, I guess it could be a bit more understandable, because otherwise it would have been Nunes Harrison to main event, and we just can't have that. We just can't have that. But this is insane. Gaethje versus Pimblett is an absolutely insane fight. I'm looking forward to it.
Style booking.
So not only, obviously the interim title is there for a reason, but not only are you going to get Paddy the Baddy versus Gaethje for the interim, but they're automatically going to get the title shot versus Ilya, which double makes this the stupidest interim title fight you could have at lightweight. Because one man is not involved. Where the hell is Arman Tsarukyan? This is the rightful #1 contender at 155, and he is nowhere to be found in the plans for a title shot at 155. It makes no sense. Dana's not going to explain why, because he doesn't have to, because the UFC, again, is trending further and further away from a sport and further toward WWE.
Ariel Helwani offered a crucial perspective on Ilia Topuria's withdrawal, calling his reason very valid. Helwani stressed the immense danger of competing with one's mind elsewhere when the stakes are so astronomically high in a title fight. He argued that Topuria's growing star power made it too risky to step into the octagon compromised or unfocused. For Helwani, taking time off was not only the mature and professional move, but the smartest choice for Topuria's career, brand, and family. It was a decision rooted in self-preservation, not cowardice.
Justin Gaethje, Paddy Pimblett. Now, Justin Gaethje had said, listen, I'm not going to continue fighting unless I get a title shot. I guess he kind of gets what he wants there as far as he gets an interim shot, right? He was like, I'm going to retire if you don't give me a shot at the belt. And then you have Paddy Pimblett, who, I'll be honest, yes, I did want to see fight Ilia Topuria because they have the rivalry, because it goes back for so long, because I think it would be a fun build to a fight. But when you look at Paddy's record, you have him beating Gordon, old man Tony Ferguson, old man Bobby Green, and then Michael Chandler. You fight who's in front of you, so I guess you can't really blame Paddy for that, but it's like, how does that offer you a #1 contenders fight without fighting someone in the top 5?
Despite validating Topuria's personal reasons, Helwani blasted the concept of the interim title itself, declaring it unnecessary. He pointed out that Ilia only won his title in June, making a sudden interim belt seem like a forced narrative. For Helwani, Justin versus Paddy would have been perfectly fine as a #1 contender bout without the added, arguably bogus, interim status. The need for this second-tier belt so soon after the legitimate champion was crowned raised serious questions about the UFC's strategic decision. Was this about necessity or something else entirely? Helwani's outrage peaked as he criticized the choice to have Justin versus Paddy headline the card over more deserving fights, specifically naming Kayla Harrison versus Amanda Nunes. He branded the decision insane, suggesting that on paper, Gaethje vs. Paddy, without the interim label, was merely a fine fight to determine a #1 contender. To elevate it to main event status, especially over a highly anticipated women's super fight, struck Helwani as baffling and misguided matchmaking. The hierarchy of importance seemed completely inverted, leaving fans scratching their heads. The most infuriating aspect for Helwani was Arman Tsarukyan's predicament. What does Arman's routine have to do to get a shot at the belt now, he fumed. Arman did everything right, sat patiently, steamrolled Dan Hooker, finished his opponent dominantly, yet somehow gets bypassed. Helwani called it insane that Arman is now left in limbo, potentially not even next for a title shot. The rules, he suggested, are being made up as they go along, creating a sense of injustice for deserving contenders. The system, it seems, can be merciless. Adding a surprising twist to the narrative, MMA Guru boldly predicted a Paddy Pimblett upset. He argued that Pimblett's unique mix of grappling and long-range striking could provide him a distinct edge over Gacy. Unlike past Gacy opponents like Chandler or Fiziev, Paddy won't stand in the pocket and trade, a strategy Guru believes will exploit Gacy's current stage, noting he's coming towards the tail end of his career. This unexpected tactical analysis suggested Pimblett might be more dangerous than many assume. The underdog narrative just got a jolt of confidence. MMA Guru echoed the sentiment of injustice for Arman Tsarukyan, calling his situation brutal. Despite doing everything right, making weight, staying ready, finishing his last opponent, Arman now might have to take another fight. Guru admitted the matchmaking makes no sense unless Arman somehow turned down this card, a possibility he acknowledges but finds unlikely. While Guru expressed excitement for the insane fight between Gaethje and Pimblett, he couldn't shake the feeling that a deserving contender was being unfairly sidelined. The cost of this interim title is becoming clear. Clemens didn't mince words, concluding that Dana White wouldn't explain the baffling matchmaking because he doesn't have to. This, he argued, signifies the UFC is trending further and further away from a sport and further toward WWE. He questioned Gaethje's interim shot after talking retirement and Pimblett's leap to Zone 1 contender status despite not beating a top 5 fighter. The lightweight division, Clemens asserted, feels utterly upside down, with stars leapfrogging rankings and true contenders stuck waiting. This entire saga has proven one thing. In the UFC, the narrative often trumps logical progression, leaving fans hyped but utterly bewildered.